hello, and welcome back to the SAE-VIT podcast. Myself, Nidhi.
And I'm Tirth. And today we'll talk about the Indian motorsports and its current era. So, what I want to do in this next 20 minutes is understand how Indian motorsports grew from its early days to where it stands today. What set it apart from different countries, why it captured the imagination of some, and where it might be leading to in a few years. So, a common observation that I've had is that the general Indian audience loves watching sports. Like, we are very much into sports. We have the biggest cricket fan base and a pretty big football fan base too. We tend to keep a track of various other sports. Why is it that motorsports has always felt a little underground in India when compared to, those mainstream sports?
Yeah, you're actually very right because cricket in India is more than a sport. It's a generational thing. Like I remember when I was young, from that time, I have been following cricket because of my dad. My dad is a huge cricket fan, and that just naturally passed on to me. That's the case with a lot of families in India like motorsports on the other hand had never had that cultural inheritance or that same generational fan following. So one biggest reason is accessibility. Cricket or football is something that you can play anywhere, on the streets, in a schoolyard, or with just a bat and a ball. Like we also play, like you guys
Yeah.
especially play in hostel rooms too. So but motorsport is completely different. Like when people can't play a sport, they usually don't connect with it in the same way. But at the same time, Hollywood did play a role in introducing racing to the masses. Like for many people, their first glimpse of motorsport wasn't through Formula One or rallying or something like that. It was through those movies, like Doom or Tarampam or the even Race. Those were the movies which actually introduced motorsport and all. These films made car culture or speed look glamorous and exciting. When we used to see those people, like those cool people dressed in like having sunglasses, those clothes and the chains, gold chains and all, that was something that linked to motorsports. But in this, the thing is that it stayed at the entertainment level. Like no one took it seriously as a sport. Like it created curiosity, sure, but it never converted into a strong sporting culture like
Okay.
cricket.
So, it was more about entertainment to the people rather than the culture. But when I observe the current trend, I do see potential in this sport becoming a huge culture or having a huge fan base out of India. Um, since I see potential, I want to understand how this sport has changed in the last few years. That makes, today's races feel different from what we saw a decade ago.
What's really changed is how easy it is actually to watch motorsports now. Like back then, races were hardly on TV, but today, F1, MotoGP, or even Formula E are literally just one click away. And also in VIT, SA has race screenings. Social media also made it fun. You have got fan pages, memes, and communities that just keep you hooked up. And there are communities built in which you can interact with people who are having same interests or likings. And also in India, hosting stuff like the Formula E race in Hyderabad, this proves that people are actually interested. So yeah, compared to a decade ago, it just feels more alive and exciting.
You mentioned the Formula E race held in Hyderabad. We all remember that a few years back, India was hosting not Formula E, but these massive Formula One races. Everyone remembers how loud, exciting, and important the events at the Budh International Circuit felt. We've had some iconic moments over there. The stadium was packed. It genuinely looked like F1 had found a permanent home. But those days just vanished. No sign of races at all. If you could explain to me what exactly happened behind the scenes, how did we transition from, those huge buzzing events to absolutely nothing at all?
I feel the two biggest reasons were money and politics. Like the government treated F1 as an entertainment, like that what we have been seeing through years. But yes, the government treated F1 as entertainment and not as a sport. The and hosting fees just shot up. Without that support, it became too expensive to keep those races going, and that's what it just created a chaos. Like because the government or the people also treated motorsport not as a sport, but we looked to it as a source of entertainment. That just took it.
Okay. So all it was about money then, like it was all related to money. Okay, so we have established the problems and the roadblocks, which is essentially the money, and the popularity and availability of the sport has increased significantly in the last few years. What I wanna ask you is, from a personal perspective, if you could fix a single thing in the current motorsports ecosystem, what would you pick? And do you even think it is feasible?
If I could fix one thing, I'd work on sponsorship. Because right now there are so many talented drivers, but they struggle to move forward. They struggle because there is not a financial backing. If brands and corporates invested more in motorsports the way they do in cricket, like we have so many cricket competitions at state, national, or even district level, but on motorsport, at the other hand, there are no such competitions or people are not aware about it. But when it's cricket, we just see a new wave of talent. We can do that in motorsport too. That would also attract bigger events and better infrastructure. So yeah, solving the funding issue would change everything and make things better, make it accessible for people who are not aware about the sport or who want to actually do something in that, but they're not just able to do it because of some reasons.
Okay, so let's assume that what you wished do actually comes true, like your one thing actually came true. How do you imagine motorsports will look in another 5 years? And what would it actually need to boom?
So, if the sponsorship and the financial backing actually comes, then I think that in this generation, there's genuinely an audience for every sport. Like you have got diehard fans for cricket, football, kabaddi, or even esports for that matter. I really feel motorsport is next in line to boom. It's streaming, making it more accessible, and social media building real communities for fans. People are finally noticing it. Like I see so many people around me are interested in F1 and motorsport. So if the momentum keeps building, the next 5 years could be massive for motorsport. Like if we get proper funding and if people see the motorsport as a sport and not an entertainment, I feel there will be a significant change in the sport history.
Speaking of opportunities in the sport, I'm really excited to see what the Indian drivers do, like Jehan Derwala and Kush Maini, who are really showing what Indian talent can do at an international stage. It is actually fantastic to see these drivers go out there and make the country proud.
Yeah, I do agree because so many people are just aware about all the cricketers or maybe some football players that we forget to look beyond the sport. We forget to appreciate the drivers. We forget to appreciate the sports people beyond the sport. So as you mentioned those names, I really feel that they deserve some appreciation. They deserve our love and support. So yes, India has talent, but it's not praised the way it should be.
Yes, I agree with you. So, apart from those two, do you actually see India producing a world class F1 driver, like a star? What's standing in the way? Or how much of what is happening is actually because of the youth or because of technology? Or it's just maybe fans getting more vocal about the sport? What do you think is making the sport more accessible?
As I said before, that India definitely has potential. India has talent, no doubt. We already have drivers like Jihan Dirwala or Kushmani showing promising, but the real roadblock is opportunity or financial problems. Like getting into F1 isn't just about skill, it's about funding, training, international exposure, and proper available resources in India, we can say. Like what's exciting though is how much youth and tech are driving the hype. Sim racing, esports, fan pages, they are all building momentum. Fans are louder than ever, and that energy is what keeps a dream of an Indian F1 star alive.
Yes. Uh, so, looking ahead, if someone in India, like for example, let's say me, were looking for an opportunity, whether it's being a driver or a mechanic or an aspiring engineer as such, and I want to break into motorsports, where should I be looking for real opportunities? Are there any such teams, academies, or courses that you recommend keeping an eye on, both here and abroad? What is the landscape for people, making a career in this space?
If someone or you who want to get into motorsports in India, starting academies like MECO or RK Racing are good starting points for drivers. For engineers and mechanics, platforms like Formula Bharat or SAE teams give hands-on exposure. Abroad, countries like the UK and Germany also do have great motorsport courses. So yeah, opportunities are there. You just have to look into it. You just have to be aware of what and where things are getting offered. So yeah, you can follow those paths.
I want to add something to your answer. There have been two academies, especially in India, that have been pushing motorsports in the last 2 years. Based on what I've noticed, that is the United Motorsports Academy and the Indian Motorsports Academy. They both have been really successful in finding talent and executing their procedures well enough to put them at work. So the Indian Motorsports Academy has put 30 people into the F4 pits, giving them real track experience. The United Motorsports Academy took their top 30 people to Spain's RGB boot camp. So, and the parents do not see motorsports as a very niche career now. They actually are accepting that, yeah, it is something that can be made as a career, which is great to see from India. So, yeah, that's it for this podcast. We'll see you next time.